Okay, so let's start in 4-point kneeling. We're going to start with a cat stretch. So we're coming onto our mats, no blocks on the mat, and you have your hands directly underneath your shoulders. The knees are directly underneath your hips, and you're in your long line, so just lengthening through your body. So you're trying to pull your belly button up slightly, so not letting your lower back sag. So drawing your ribs and hips together and sort of feeling like you're pressing into your hands. So you're recruiting a little bit through your shoulders. So almost like your shoulder blades are moving away from your spine slightly. So we come into our cat stretch. So as you breathe in, you prepare. As you breathe out, pull your belly button up, drop the crown of the head down, press into your hands and into your knees. Big breath at the top. And then as you breathe out, you peel back down to your start position. So we're going to do a set of 6 of these. So as you come into your cat stretch, really feel like you're sending your tailbone underneath you. So remember that sad dog analogy, and you're dropping the crown of your head to look towards your leg. Do a breath in, and then as you breathe out again, try and measure how much you let yourself come back to the start position, so you're not letting yourself sag. So we're really drawing abdominals on here to peel under and to press into the hands, and then allowing your abdominals to lengthen to bring you back to the start. We've got another 3. So I really like to think of this as the abdominals recruiting to pull up. So you get the full lumbar flexion, the full spinal flexion, and then lengthening. Really feel your abdominals lengthen away to the neutral position. We've got one more here. So as you come into your cat stretch, a nice big breath through the back of the rib cage. Feel the stretch, and then as you breathe out, coming back to neutral to finish. So we'll come into some breathing. Let's bring our blocks on and just have an easy position without the hips screaming too much. So sort of that upright position, what you're aiming for is to have that posture. So like someone's pulling you from the top of the head and your legs are hip distance apart and in parallel. So a nice soft knee. So hands either side of the shins, just dropping your chin down and allow yourself to fold over your knees. Relax your shoulders. So we're going to do 5 breaths here. So as you breathe in, feel how the ribs expand. Your belly button just opens up a little bit. And as you breathe out, pull your belly button in. Just feel how the rib cage comes in. So nice gentle breath. Not feeling like you're trying too hard, that you are trying to find your rib cage. And just notice if either side of your rib cage just feels a little bit tighter, maybe. So always relaxing your shoulders away from your ears. Release back in. We've got 2 more nice big diaphragmatic breaths here. One more. Nice and gentle. And on your next out breath, we have the restack from the lower back, mid back, upper back to grow really tall up to the ceiling. We're going to take the blocks away and come to laying onto our backs. We're going to start off with just doing a little bit of a single knee drop. So find your neutral position. So remember, in neutral, you have your feet hip distance apart, your pelvis level, that imaginary glass of water, your rib cage dropping down to the mat, your natural shape of your lower back, collarbones out wide, and chin just tucked in gently. So let's just think about the left knee dropping out to the side on your in-breath. So the important thing here is lumbar pelvic stability. And as you breathe out, bring the leg back in. So your main aim is to keep that glass of water balanced on your pelvis, that imaginary glass of water. We're going to alternate the leg. So we in breath to drop the knee and out breath to bring back in. So I've got my fingers, my index fingers, just sitting on my hip bones at the front there, just to check that I don't let my pelvis rock to the side. So my abdominals are gently switched on in neutral, and I'm just opening up the hip joint and getting a little stretch of the inner thigh. We've got one more to each side. So we're doing about 5 to each side. So watch the other leg doesn't join in as you drop the knee. Check you're putting some pressure through the big toe of the leg that's staying still, because that will hold that leg in position. We've got one more here, just warming up through the pelvis, through that stability through the pelvis. Come back into the middle. Your hands are coming down to the sides, onto little fingers, a little shrug of the shoulders as you breathe in. So feel how you just release tension through the neck. And then as you breathe out, you're pushing down. So we're using trapezius mainly, or all the elevators, should I say, at the shoulders as you lift and as you press down. So the upper trapezius muscles will elevate and the lower trapezius muscles will depress the shoulders. So it's an in-breath to lift. And we glide down on our edges of our little finger as we depress. Try not to let the shoulders lift off the mat. Try and keep wide. I'm just coming up to one more. And this is the last one. So we come back into the middle and the hands come up to the ceiling. So we're coming up with fingers just above the shoulders. So you have a vertical line of the arm into protraction. So you reach up and glide the shoulder blades around the ribs and then drop back in. So we're once again stretching the muscles between the shoulder blade and the spine as we reach. And we recruit those muscles and stretch other muscles to retract. Again, we're going to do 6. In breath to lift. And it's an out breath to drop back in. Got another 2. And reach. And drop back in. Last one here. So find your middle position again. Rib cage. Dropping your ribs in. So really soften them down to the mat so that the back bottom rib is staying in contact. We reach out behind our head and just find that stretch in the ribs. So just do a breath in. I'm slightly wider than shoulder distance. And as you breathe out, we're going to come all the way down to the mat, onto the little finger again. So winding the collarbones out wide. So you breathe in, slightly wider than shoulders. So you get the stretch through back muscles, through rib cage, holding your ribs down with your upper abdominals. Breathe in, hold, and breathe out to come back. Just do another 4. So check out your neck position. Just make sure that you're dropping your chin slightly, but not jamming and cranking down into your chest with your rib, or with your chin. But you're just keeping the length. It's like someone's got hold of your ears and giving you a little tug from behind, so lengthening everything. I think we have one more of these. So it's breath in, halfway, breath out to reach, stretch, breath in to hold, and breathe out back through. Let's do some big arm circles. So breath in, as you breathe out, circling around and back in, through to your middle position. So you don't need those circles to be touching the floor. Each side, they can just be in front of your eye line. And nice and smooth. In breath to start and out breath to finish. Just do 6 in this direction. I think we have another one to go. Everything else should be staying nice and still in your body. Let's go in the opposite direction. So it's a breath in. As you breathe out, all the way back through to the start. So in breath and out breath. And we've got another 3. Try and keep the width across the chest. Just oiling up the shoulder joint here. Last one here. You're down and back down to the floor with your hand. So let's move into some imprint. So we come into our imprint as we breathe out. So ribs and hips come together. Lower back just flexes slightly into the mat. And then we breathe in, hold, and breathe out and release back to neutral. So a little bit of a lower back gap in your neutral. And then as you breathe out, you come into your slightly lumbar flexion. So your obliques coming together here and then releasing back. Just do a few more of these. So we're just engaging our abdominals at the front, shortening the distance, and then releasing away. It's a lovely exercise just to open up that lumbar. And press. Good, and release it. It's tiny little movement. Another 2. Without clenching your bottom, just feel it's all abdominals. Last one here. So let's turn that into our hip roll. So block comes away from underneath the head. We'll pop that to one side. So we're pressing firmly through the feet here. As we come through our imprint, push through the feet, squeeze your bottom up to a top position, send the knees away, breath in at the top, and peel back down through your spine, one vertebra at a time, and lounge your tailbone. So try and keep the knees up parallel, don't let them drop in or out. So you're pressing through that straight line, lift up, open up the collarbones, breath in, try and drop the chin down, breathe out, breathe the way down. So we do another 4. And you're using your out breath to peel. You breathe in and then you use your out breath to peel to come down. Another 3. A great way of moving the spine in sequence. Try at the top position to think about it in a mini imprint maybe to stop the ribs from lifting. And that will give you that extra stretch through the front of the legs as well as the hips open up. I think this is the last one. And lengthen around. And all the way back through. Great stuff. So we're going to come into our sides. We're going to come into some rotation. I'm going to just put my hand underneath at the moment, my head. And the important thing is my heels are in line with my back, but I'm then going to just draw my legs towards the front of the mat to give me a little bit more counterbalance. So my arm comes in front. We're going to breathe in, bring the arm up. As you breathe out, rotate and turn. Look to the front. Breathe in, hold. And breathe out to come back through. So if you need a little help, you could always put another block underneath if you feel that your neck needs extra support. So breath in and breathe out. And breath in, hold, and breathe out. Nice and easy again through that thoracic spine. Breath in and breathe out. Breathe in, hold, and breathe out. So we have one more. So I like to think of this as a half open of the door and then the rotation. And then you breathe in, expand in the rotated ribs. And then you breathe out and close completely. Let's do the other side. We're going to come on to the other side. Again, if you need a headlock, use the headlock. Otherwise, you just bring the head on top of the arm. The important thing here is your spine is neutral to begin with, because you don't want to be rotating a flexed spine. And just use your legs as a counterbalance here. So it's nice and simple. If you're away, you know, for a weekend or something, or on holiday, you can just do this so easily. So you're picking up your waistline and rotate. Breathe in, hold, and breathe out to come back to Hello Gonzo. Breathe in As you breathe out, rotate. Breathe in. So my head, the advantage of having your head in your hands is that you can sort of move with it. So I'm going to put a block back under because it actually does feel better for me. A little block because of the width of my shoulder. Breath it as you breathe out. Got one more after this. Best time of day for cats, eh? Breath it as you breathe out. Last one. Nicely done. Let's come back to laying on our backs. We'll come into our abs prep. So here we've got some options as well in terms of modification. But the first thing is to get the correct position of the pelvis again. So feet are hip distance apart. We're in a neutral position, lower back gap, rib cage dropped in. Hands are down by the side. So remember with abs prep, from your belly button down is now going to sleep. Your hips are relaxed. I remember the analogy of not if you have water coming down, you wouldn't be pooling it in your tummy as you come up into your abs prep. You've got to let it slide down through your legs. So we're going to modify with the hands behind the head to support the neck, elbows out in your outside vision. So we're just doing a set of 6. So we breathe in, nod the chin first. As you breathe out, flex up. Don't allow the belly button to dip and you're pulling that water down. It won't be a big movement. You breathe in and hold. And as you breathe out, releasing back down. To support the neck, thumbs on the base of the skull, nod the chin, flex up. It's almost like I have to bend my tailbone a little bit further into the mat to hold the position of the pelvis. Nod the chin. Imagine that water coming down from the breastbone all the way down, flowing downwards and not pooling in a puddle on your belly button. And release down. So hips nice and relaxed. We've got another 3. As you breathe out, to hold it there. Breathe in, hold, and breathe out to release back down. 2 more. Nod the chin and flex. Breathe in, hold. Breathe out, release. One last one here. You should be feeling that work already, but hopefully not too much in your neck if you're using your abdominals. And release down. Just take your hands down to the side. Just turning your head side to side. Just stretching through and relaxing through the neck. Come on to our fronts. Into breaststroke. So we're sort of going through the full warm-up today. We're going to have the legs ideally together, but if you have lower back issues, you can go a little bit wider if you wish. And we come down, tucking the ribs in, hands are just either side of the mat. So the nose is balanced just off the mat. We start with breaststroke prep 1. So we glide the shoulder blades down away from the ears. And then as you breathe out, imaginary marble under your nose, you push it towards the front of the mat and just peel up the rib cage on your out breath. You breathe in and hold, and as you breathe out, peel the ribs back down to release and relax the shoulder blades. So we're just going to do a set of 4. So shoulder blades glide down and peeling up. Breathing in and holding. Breathing out to release back down. So I'm lengthening through my feet, really feeling length from the top of the head. So again, like someone's pulling my ears and just making me long. I'm really not crunching my spine. Pretty weightless through the hands here, not pressing into the hands. One last one. Out breath as you lift. Keep the legs down on the mat. Breathe in, hold, and breathe out. So not forcing the movement. And releasing back. Let's go into breaststroke prep 2. Hands come down to the sides. This is a long line hover. It's quite different. So we shrug the shoulders up, roll them in towards the spine. Palms come into the legs. So you're just hovering. That's your first little hover position. And then on your out breath, lifting and lengthening and using the muscles around your shoulders and around your spine. Breathe in, hold, and breathe out to release back down and release the arms in. Set of 4 again, so 3 more. Keep lengthening your body. Roll the shoulder blades in. Find the long line hover as you lift, not a big movement. Breath in, hold. As you breathe out, release back down. Remember, Pilates was all about getting those little muscles working. And these are the little spinal muscles that are supporting the spine. So your scaffolding comes on. A great exercise. Any lower back twinges, please just go a bit smaller. One last one. And lift and release down. Hands are going to come in underneath your eyebrows, so crossing over your hands. Head comes down onto the hands underneath you. We're going to do 2 just pressing into the floor, and then 2 lifting the hands with the head. So breath in first, shoulder blade. Breathe out, press into the hands and lengthen. Breathe in, hold. Breathe out, release back down. Again, we're going into that little bit of extension this time, pushing into the hands, lengthening the legs. Breathe out to press. Now, with the last 2, when we bring the hands up, we go to the hover position. So breath in, hands now glued to your forehead. Breathe out, come to the hover and lift. Breathe in, hold that hover and breathe out to release back down. Keep lengthening. Abs come on underneath you. Breathe in as you breathe out, lifting, hold the hover. These are tough. And then releasing back down. Well done. Hands underneath your shoulders. Drop back onto your heels. Have a lovely stretch out. Have a moment. So let's come round into half roll back. So we're going to come up to sitting. So we come to the front of the mat and the legs are gently bent. Now, we struggle sometimes to sit up tall here, but we're going to do our best because it's hard to do this on a block because we want to roll backwards. So the hands are in front of us, shoulders are down. All about that flexed position again. So think of it as starting off with a big imprint and then flexing the spine, with your shoulders nice and relaxed. You're going to breathe in and hold. As you breathe out, you send your hands over your knees and reach and stretch. Breathe in. As you breathe out, you tuck under. You find this seesaw action. Lovely. Well done. That's good. And as you breathe out, we're reaching and stretching over our knees to get that stretch out at the back. So out breath to your half roll back position. In breath, hold. Out breath to reach and stretch. Get another 3. Out. In. And out breath. Out breath to stabilize through your abdominals. I think this might be our last one. In breath, hold. Out breath to reach. So we have lots of different challenges we can add the half roll back, but today we're just going through that half roll back. We're going to peel down. Have your block handy as you come down to the mat. Let's come into one leg circle. We have some options here. So the bottom leg, we're going to start straight. I'll take you through the options. Pelvis neutral. Let's do right leg straight. Left leg is coming up into a bent knee. We're in neutral. So we can do this all with a knee bent, or we can do it with the underside leg bent as well. So we can have both legs bent. That's your best position if you've got tight hips, but you might feel that actually that bottom leg gives you a bit more stability with the pelvis. So we're going to take the left knee across and circle the hip out to the side and back in. So remember, it's the hip that's moving. That's the bit you want to be moving. It's the in-breath to take the knee across, out-breath to come back in. Now, if you wanted to, you could straighten the leg. Oh, I don't know if I want to do that today. Did a little bit too much yesterday, maybe. My hamstring doesn't really like it. But this is where you would be with that one leg. So if I don't feel, I get the same degree of movement here. So I'm going to go back to a bent leg. Let's go the other way. We go out, circle round, because this is all about lumbar pelvic stability. This is all about moving your hip joints with this movement. So if you feel you're really hanging with that hamstring, it doesn't really make any sense because it's restricting your movement of the hip. So with Pilates, again, we're not talking about competition here. We're talking about getting joints to move well. Let's do one more. Good stuff, lovely. And then let that leg come long. Let's bring the other leg up to the knee fold. And we start with the in-breath across the body and breathe out to come out and in. Abs come on a little bit, so they're holding the pelvis still all the time. So we've done this before with the arms up to the ceiling. I'm just checking my pelvis today and making sure that I'm getting a good hip movement. Last one in this direction, and then reverse the direction. So maybe after some hamstring stretches, we could have done it with a long leg, but we haven't really done that yet. So I just want your hip to really feel it move smoothly. Last two. Last one. Nicely done. Legs are going long. So we're going to do some roll-ups. I know they're not your favourites, but we're going to see if we can help ourselves a little bit by bringing our hands underneath our legs with a bent leg. We start off with some preps first. So we reach out behind. Breath in, bring the hands above the shoulders, nod the chin, draw the ribs to the hips as you flex up into that hockey stick shape. Breathe in, hold, and breathe out to release back down and have a stretch. So your option is to stay doing this if you wish. Remember, you're lengthening. You're always working that thoracic spine. So it's a good exercise still, just to move your spine into that thoracic flexion. So see if this works for you. Breath in. As you breathe out, nod the chin, come up, bend the knees slightly and pull yourself up and reach. You may feel that you can just support yourself a little bit through the legs or put something underneath your lumbar, something soft if you want to. So breath in, nod the chin. Breathe out, you can just pull through and flex up. Roll down, support yourself, that's fine. Yeah, good. Or stay with the prep and reach away. So breath in, nod the chin. We've got two more to go. And reach. There's lots of variations in roll up. You do what works for you. So I could do this last one, nod the chin, flex up. You could stretch the legs out and the heels and reach. Remember, you've got a football in your tummy here. You're not trying to collapse down and trying to flex. And then move back. So let's come into spine twist. I'm going to use one block to sit on. Ideally, you want your legs just out. So they're hip distance, maybe the mat distance. Now, if this is uncomfortable, you can cross your legs. If this isn't the place you want to be, you could have a ghost cut style with the legs bent. And again, the important thing is the spine is straight. I'm going to go a little bit, maybe with a bent leg today. The arms are out to the side and the palms are facing down, and you're horizontal with your shoulder. So we breathe in first. As you breathe out, rotate to the side. Breathe in, hold, keep upright all the time, and breathe out, come back to the middle. So breath in, grow tall. Breathe out to rotate. Breathe in to hold. breathe out, come back to the middle. Breath in. As you breathe out, rotating to the side. So my arms stay the same shape. Breath in, and my V shape as I come back, and all the work is coming from my rib and out. Breathe in and breathe out. 2 more to each side. Lengthen the fingers. Breathe out. Again, modifications come with this exercise. We're keeping it just a simple exercise today to get the rib cage open. Breath in. And back to the middle. 1 more to each side. Out breath. In breath, hold. Out breath. 1 last one. Relax the shoulders. Having the arms out here is enough sometimes for people just to hold them there. Arms coming in. Little shrug of the shoulders. Roll the shoulders. Well done. We're going to come onto our fronts into heel squeeze prone. Have our hands underneath our forehead. Legs are wide. And we're bringing the heels in to touch. Legs are at 90 degrees. So bending the knees up and bringing the heels in. Pubic bone is down on the mat. Belly button pulling off the mat. And resting your head down. The little squeeze of the heels together. And feel how the glutes come on. Breathe in, hold. And breathe out and release. And a squeeze again. Press. Breathe in, hold there. And breathe out to release. And press. This is number 3. We've got 6 to do. Two more. Last one here. So legs come down to the mat. We're going to bring them into parallel, into one leg kick. So we've got a bit of choreography here. We bend the right leg with a pointed toe. We release slightly, flex at the ankle and pull in again. And then we lengthen the leg long and reach it to the ground. So we come in, point the left leg, flex at the ankle, and then reach it long. So once you get that point, flex, reach, you can speed up a little bit. Point, flex, reach. Point, flex, reach. Good. Point, flex, reach. So leave them a little bit faster. Flex and reach. Point, flex, and reach long. Point, flex. So it's all about the quads getting that length, but also about the ankle moving. Point, flex, reach. Last couple. Point, flex, reach. Point, flex, reach. Nicely done. It's slightly wider with your legs into breaststroke. We need to clear the space around us because we've got to use the arms here. So with breaststroke, we bring together breaststroke prep 2 and breaststroke prep 1. We start off, as you breathe in, lift into your hover and lengthening the arms out. As you breathe out, we sweep the arms round and lift into thoracic extension. So you lift up into your breaststroke prep 1 position. So you come into your hover as you breathe in, and then reach the arms and breathe out and lift. So breath in. As you breathe out, sweep and open up the collarbone. Got another 3. Reach and press up into your breaststroke. 2 more. Reach to hover and reach up and stretch. Last one. And find that breaststroke prep 1. Hands come down. Release back down to the mat. drop back into shell. Come onto our sides for the last 4 or 5 minutes to do some side lying leg work. So the important thing here is about position again the spine. So your back is nice and straight. Your head is back in line with your spine, so you have an ear and shoulder and hip alignment. And we're going to keep the underside leg bent with the top leg coming out straight, lifting up underneath our waistline. So this is really important. The minute that you drop in, everything is gone. So we need to pick up and find the space. Hand comes onto hip, or you could bring the hand on the floor if you wish. We're literally just coming up into our up hip, and I'm not letting that gap disappear as I bring the leg up. I'm trying to just go to where my glute is working on glute med here, on the top, without going into a side bend on my spine. Belly button pulling in. Press. We've got another one to take us to 6. We're going to come to hip distance, hip height, come forward with a flexed foot, point the toe, and sweep back behind and use your glutes. So you come forward into your kick, hamstring stretch, calf stretch, back through to your extension, hip flexor stretch. So just doing 6 because we are running out of time. This is number 3. So we get through a lot of ground just with 6 reps. Got another 1 to go, but there's still so much more, always. And press to that last extension of the hip. Let's come into a stagger lift. So again, find your gap. Hand can come in front. We lift the top leg just to about hip height. Bring the bottom leg in to meet it and release back down. So if you need a cushion underneath your underneath hip, bit of cushioning, you can pop them on. So we've got 6 of these. And we're using adductors, keeping that waistline lifted. We've got another 3. And 2. And your last one here. Nicely done, this swing round. So again, before we start, just thinking about that little bit of alignment there. Come up a little bit. Top leg is straight. We start with the up kick. So again, waistline lifted. Just lift into your range. You should be feeling this muscle on the top kicking in as you lift. It's not a big movement. Knee, foot facing forward. And engaging through this really important stability muscle on the top of our hip. This allows us that good gait pattern when we walk, that we can push through the floor to get the other leg through. So really important to stabilize everything around the lower spine as well, lower back. We've got another one, I think, after this. Finish off at your hip distance. We come forward with a flexed ankle. To come back into the middle and behind and press. So it's an in breath, out breath as you go back. A little imprint will help you keep your ribs in control. And press, stick your bottom out, and then tuck under as you go behind. Another 3, press. And 2. With that pendulum of your leg. Last one. Just going to bring both legs together for our last exercise here. Lift up through the waistline. Hand is going to be on the mat just to stabilize you a little bit. Lift the leg to hip height. And then bring the other leg in, lengthen, and release back down. Super strong. Breath in for the first leg. Breathe out to lift the second. You don't want to be too high with that top leg, because it's hard to get the other one up there to join it otherwise. So you just want to feel your adductors are working of that underside leg. Because they're going to cross your body. So you've got to be working to lift up. Two more. And then your last one coming in. Well done. And release that. Nicely done. Let's come to finish with a spine stretch forward. Just to release and reset. I'm going to pop myself on the block. I'm going to have long legs today, but you could have bent knees if you wanted to, or legs together. So really tall, lifting off the chin, relaxing on. Big breath through the back of the rib cage. Relax through the legs. And then as you breathe out, release that.